Okay, so we're going to rearrange some equations. Now, we're not actually going to solve them because we can't. Because if you have a look at this first equation, ax equals 6. Because there's two letters, there's two pronumerals, okay, two unknowns, we can't actually solve for x because it could be an infinite number of answers because we don't know what a is. Okay, so all we can do is rearrange it. Now the question says to make x the subject. Making x the subject simply means I want x on one side equals something. Everything else has got to be on the other side. Okay, I want x all by itself. So what's stopping x at the moment from being by itself? Well, at the moment we've got a times x. So we've got x, but it's multiplied by a. I want to get rid of this times by a. How do I get rid of a times by a? Well, the opposite of timesing is dividing, so I'm going to divide by a to get rid of that a. If I divide this side by a, I have to divide the other side by a as well. So I'm going to divide both sides by a. Now on the left-hand side, that leaves me with just x, which is perfect because that's what I want. On the other side, I've got 6 divided by a. Now I can't do much with that, so I'm just going to write it as 6 divided by a like this, as a fraction. And there's my answer. X is the subject of the equation, and that's all I can do with it. All right, let's do the next one. B says x over c is equal to 2. All right, what is stopping the x from being all by itself? Well, it's got this divided by 2. What's the opposite of, divided by c. What's the opposite of dividing by c? It's timesing. So let's times by c to get rid of it, which means we have to times the other side by c as well. Now that just leaves me with x, which is exactly what I want. And I've got 2 lots of c, which I can just write as 2c. So x equals 2c, just like that. Okay, next, I've got bx take away c equals 5. Again, I want to make x the subject. So bx take away c equals 5. All right, I want to get rid of this b and I want to get rid of the c. Now let's get rid of the one that's easiest to get rid of first, the one that's most by itself. The one that's easiest to pick on is this minus c over here. The opposite of minusing c is plus c, so I'm going to add c to both sides to get rid of this c. Now that just leaves me with bx on the left, and on the right I've got 5 plus c. Okay, x is not yet by itself because it's still multiplied by this b, so I'm going to divide by b to get rid of the b, which means I have to divide this side by b. Now I'm actually going to write my divide by b like that, okay, because that's how we are going to write it in our answer, as 5 plus c all divided by b. And here is my answer with x being the subject and everything else on the other side. Okay, we have one to go and that's D. Now D says 4xy equals b. Okay, we want x all by itself here. So 4xy equals b. I need to get rid of the times 4 and I need to get rid of the times y. So I'm actually going to do this all in one step. I'm just going to divide by 4y all together. Now I might write that differently for you just because it'll make it a little bit easier. Let's write it as divided by 4y and divided by 4y. All right, that actually cancels my 4 and my 4 and my y all in one go. And I'm left with just the x on the left. And on the other side, there's nothing I can do here. It just needs to be left as b over 4y. But I've satisfied the question because the question said to make x the subject. X is definitely the subject because it's here on one side, all by itself, equal to everything on the other side.